Hi, fourth graders. Happy Thursday. I keep forgetting what day of the week it is. It's so weird. Every day just runs into one another, and this is probably weird seeing me on a video, but we're going to be doing this more, especially since now we're moving into a new chapter. And you will see that as the units usually go, there is some review to start, and that's okay. For example, we're doing perimeter today, and you might say to yourself, I know how to do perimeter, but there's a certain way and a certain formula in fourth grade that we want you to use to calculate the perimeter. You will need three things with you. If you do not have these three things, I would recommend pausing this video, gathering them, and then you can continue. You will need a pencil. You will need a math notebook, and you will need to be on a fresh new page in your math notebook. You need to label this chapter 11, lesson 1 is your title, 11-1 works, and you need to have your textbook with you so that you can follow along as I read through this and then do some problems. I will give you some time. I'm going right now to plug in my document camera, so it might be a little weird. It might take a little adjusting for my computer to get it to this other view, just so you know. But gather your materials and we will begin. Okay, so you may notice my document camera is trying to readjust. You are on page 358 in your textbook, 358. And like I just mentioned, the title of this is Use Perimeter Formulas. That's what's really important. We know that the perimeter is the distance around a figure. We found in our last unit the circumference, the distance around the circle specifically. Perimeter is other figures. You can use a formula to find the perimeter of a rectangle. What is the perimeter of this rectangle? If you notice, the length is this way. So the length of this rectangle, if I were to ask you, is 10 meters. That label is important. The width is the up and down, is the vertical, 4 meters. So what I like about this is it really shows you how to go through and figure out what the formula of a perimeter would be. So something that you probably know or you are probably thinking right away is this first formula. So it says perimeter equals the length plus the width plus the length plus the width. Okay, so I like how this is written out. It makes it into variables. So P equals L plus W plus L plus W. So it's saying that it would be 10 plus 4 plus 10 plus 4. 10 plus 4 plus 10 plus 4. So from that, that's a little bit young for us. That's kind of like a third grade way of finding the perimeter. The fourth grade way is to combine the variables and add some PEMDAS work in there. So from this third grade way, the person said, aha, I have 2 lengths that I'm adding and I have 2 widths that I'm adding. So I'm going to say perimeter P equals 2 times the length, 10 times 2, and 2 times the width, 2 times 4. Now, the last thing that is added in this is what I want you to write first at the top of your math notebook. I want you to write P equals parentheses 2 times, and I want you to write L because it's a general formula. So you're going to have 2 times L plus parentheses 2 times W. I'm going to have you write that. I will say it one more time. At the top of your notebook, the only thing you have written in your notebook is P equals 2 times the length, make sure that's in parentheses, plus parentheses 2 times W. Then it shows us, and you do not have to write this. They multiplied 2 times 10. Then they multiplied 2 plus 8. Then, afterwards, they added 20 plus 8 to get 28 meters. This is so important to have a label. Now, this is the perimeter of a rectangle. So I want you to have something like this. So it says formula for perimeter of a rectangle. I want you to label that formula 2 times L plus 2 times W as the perimeter for a rectangle. That's really important. This is not the perimeter formula for every single figure, just a rectangle. Now I'm going to give you one example. I'm going to give you the picture of a rectangle, and I'm going to have you calculate the perimeter in your math notebook under the formula that you just wrote. So this is not going to be perfect. I have my rectangle. This is going to be 12 inches. And this is going to be 5 inches. So my length is 12 and my width is 5. Using that perimeter formula that you just used to find the area of a rectangle only, I want you to find the perimeter of this rectangle. Go ahead. Hopefully your work is looking like mine. I do want you to write it out. I'm putting everything in parentheses, and I'm doing the parentheses first before I add. 24, 5 times 2 is 10. My answer is 34 inches. That's the distance around that rectangle. Give yourself a pat on the back if you got that. Okay, now there's a few more formulas to find the perimeter that we need to know. One is a square and one is an equilateral triangle. So I'm going to move this. Let's see if that works. Perfect. Now, something that's unique about a square, every side is the same. So all you have to do is multiply that one side 4 times by 4. That's it. So underneath that work we just did, I want you to write this new formula that we have that is in bold. 4 times S, which is the side length, is the perimeter. And just like they did in the book, I want you to label it. That's the formula for the perimeter of a square, something that is 4 equal side lengths. So P equals 4 times S is going to be written, and you need to label it as the perimeter of a square. And this last one, they show us an equilateral triangle. That means that every side is the same. But unlike a square, there's only 3 sides. So the perimeter of an equilateral triangle is 3 times S. I want you to write the perimeter formula underneath that square formula that you just did. And make sure you label it. Once you do that, I'm going to give you 2 problems, just like we did with the rectangle. One will be a square, one will be the equilateral triangle. Okay, so problem 1. I have a square. I want you to draw this out with me. One side is 3 meters. Nope, I'm going to change that. One side is 5 meters. I know my formula is 4 times the side length, which is 5. 4 times 5 is 20, and I have my label. Hopefully you did that too. For my equilateral triangle, my side length is going to be 11 meters. I want you to find the perimeter of that equilateral triangle. Make sure you write out the work. So my formula is 3, because there's 3 equal sides, times the side length, which is 11. So your perimeter is 33 meters. Wonderful. Hopefully you have that all down. Using the rest of the space you have on this page, I want you to flip to page. My camera is not doing good things, so I'm going to unplug it and have it face me. Perfect, much easier. I want you to do the odd numbers only, not all of the problems, the odd numbers, on page 359 in your math notebook. Then you can move on to the next step, which is in your math workbook. But you are doing the odd numbers. You are not doing the challenge. It's also not an odd number, so that worked out. But odd numbers only, make sure that you write out all your work and label the perimeter. Awesome, have fun.